Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Princess Interrupted, the podcast. I'm your host, Allison Ziggy, and today we're going to be diving into how to stop subconsciously accepting the bare minimum in dating. You might be thinking, Allison, what does the bare minimum look like? Or you might be thinking, it's taken me a really long time to find someone and I just really want to be in a relationship, and setting these high standards is going to make it so much more unlikely that I'm actually going to find someone. And I'm here to debunk all of this because that's completely not true. I'm going to break down what might be happening, what this looks like, and how we can fix it so that dating can become an enjoyable experience where you can get to know someone and get pampered and get taken care of and have somebody show that they care about you and actually receive it. Most of this is happening on a subconscious level. So I'm going to break through some probable scenarios of what might be happening. And I'm going to break down what you can do so that you can start increasing your standards in a relationship. Social media has made it so that we can log online and compare everybody's lives. And you might see that some women are receiving the flowers, they're getting the cars sent to them, they're getting upgraded to first class, they're getting all these things. And you're like, I'm not even getting a text back. Or maybe you're like, I have to go 50-50. Here's the thing. You decide what you are available for in relationships, and it's based on what you perceive to be your most important values. Some people don't want those things. Others consider them really important and in alignment with the vision of the life and the relationship that they want. We're not here to judge. We're here to discern what's true for us. What do we actually want versus what do we feel like we need to want based on what society's telling us? I have standards around this, and I personally really like to be treated well. I like to feel like a man is taking care of me. I like when he gets the door for me. I like when he walks on the outside of the street. I like to be texted first 9 times out of 10. I like when he proactively is in that seeking role, as opposed to sitting and looking at my phone and thinking, where is he? Why hasn't he texted me? I have extensive experience in dating, and I am a life and mindset coach. I've studied the subconscious mind and I've studied energy work. Dating was the area of my life where I struggled the most. So I made it my mission to better understand this, to improve the quality of my life and my connections, but the quality of the people that I'm here to serve, you watching this, my clients. So without further ado, let's dive into what it takes to actually start raising your standards. The first step in raising your standards is knowing what your standards are. You can do this by getting clear on what your values are, but you need to know what you truly value and what you deem to be important in a relationship, and get clear on why you even want to be in a relationship. When you put thought into what this connection means to you before it is physically here, it is going to have a higher sense of intention behind it. You're going to have an understanding of what this connection means, why it is here. If you're looking for a relationship to enhance your life, if this person is causing you to spin out and stress out, and you only feel your best when they're contacting you, that is an energy drain. That is an energetic vampire situation, and I do not see a reality where that is contributing to your life. Where you only feel your best when you're hearing from this person, that is a leech. You don't want that. Maybe you do, but I know for me, I can't operate like that. If I'm in a relationship, I need a man who's consistent. I don't want ambiguity into his interest. And before you say, but Allison, nobody's ever been interested in me. That is not true. You have just chosen to focus your energy on the ones who weren't interested. You're getting to a place where you're finally respecting yourself enough to demand higher standards and higher behaviors from men. And you will attract people who are interested when you're in your queen energy. If you've been in your wishy-washy, nobody loves me energy, you're going to meet people who match that. People who show you the reasons that you're unlovable, or people who reiterate your low feelings of self-worth. So this is likely what had been happening in the past. Now here's the thing. You might be thinking that by setting lower standards, you're increasing the likelihood that you're going to find a relationship. Your high standards are not the reason that you're single. Lowering your standards will never give you what you are actually desiring from a relationship. If you're like, I'm always single, maybe my standards are too high, that is 100% not the problem. The problem is that you have these standards in theory, but when you go out and start dating, you no longer uphold yourself to these. You lower your standards subconsciously because you don't feel worthy of the woman who gets to receive a man who matches this energy. The relationship for a partnership, a companion, is a soul desire. But with our societal constructs and narratives that we're fed as women, that we need a man to complete us, to make us happy, there is such a big element of this that is ego driven. Your ego wants to fit in. If you think about ancient times, you were married out of survival. This was the legacy of your family. There are deep, primal, societal constructs that tie back to wanting a relationship for survival. This isn't the case anymore, where women in the modern world can do basically anything without a man. The role that a relationship plays is very different from some of the ways that we are hardwired. You've got to get really clear on what being in a relationship means to you. Why do you want to call another person into your world? What are you looking for? When you understand the why behind this connection, you're going to be able to set your standards that match that. If you're looking for someone who can be your companion and best friend, and you call in a guy who you're scared to reach out to, that's incompatible. Because it doesn't match, you're going to say, this doesn't match what I'm looking for, and you're going to be able to emotionally detach from the outcome without making it mean something about you. When you don't do this work beforehand and you don't get clear on the intention behind why you're calling it in, you might be calling in a relationship from lack because you don't feel good enough without one, because all of your friends are in relationships, because you got another invitation to a wedding and you don't want to go alone. These are not good motivators for being in a relationship. A lot of people are just scared to be alone. It's like a game of musical chairs. They find whoever's left standing, and that's who they end up with. You know what that leads to? Unhappy marriages. That's not what we want to condone. I'm here to help you get a soul-aligned relationship. I want to help you live a life of incredible purpose, depth, and soul fulfillment, where you can have a soul partner who helps you in your mission, who helps you be the best version of yourself and supports you in going after your dreams. Let's talk about manifestation for a second. Manifestation is this concept of taking a thought form and bringing it into your physical reality. It is just as easy to manifest a piece of trash relationship as it is to manifest a man who treats you well. The only difference is your ability to believe in what you are manifesting. Manifestation is a process of getting clear on what you want and then looking at the reasons why you think you can't have it and debunking these one by one. The subconscious mind speaks a different language than the conscious mind. That is why you might consciously have really wanted to be in this relationship of your dreams for years, but it stays out of reach. Once you do the reframing work within your subconscious mind, you're going to upgrade what you see in your physical reality. Relationships are ultimately a mirror for the way we feel about ourselves. And if you're seeing results on the external, like if you're dating people who don't match what you want, there is a part of you that does not feel worthy of the love you are desiring. This is the work I do with my private clients. And I also just recorded an entire 3-day challenge to help you rewire your limiting beliefs that have been keeping love out of reach. Make sure to check the link in the show notes if you're interested in starting this work at your own pace. It's a 3-day challenge with so many subconscious rewiring techniques, including a hypnosis, a time techniques, meditation, and we even write out your husband list of who you're calling in. So it's all about getting clear on what you want, getting clear on why you think you can't have it, and then choosing what you want to be true instead. This is a practice. My standards improved as I started to love myself more. As I started to do the inner work and started to look at what was going on in my subconscious mind and started to give myself the life that I always wanted a man to give me, the quality of the partners that I called into my life dramatically improved. I started to meet people who matched my values and my vision for my life. The reason that I called my challenge Flowers for VDAY is because it's about setting that standard. That is the bare minimum expectation. You are a woman who deserves to receive flowers for VDAY. That doesn't mean that he's this amazing, great person. That is the bare minimum. You want someone who wants to make you happy, who wants to make you smile, who does things where you're able to receive. This might be the second block as far as why you have been subconsciously accepting the bare minimum in your relationship. You have a receiving problem. You know that you have a problem with receiving if you feel like you need to do everything in order for things to be done right. You have trouble letting go of control. You don't trust that if someone else is doing it, it's going to get done. If somebody offers you a compliment and you immediately say, thanks, it was on sale, or, oh, really? I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't sure about the hair color. I wasn't sure about what I was wearing. that means you have a receiving problem. You can start to practice this by letting people do nice things for you. Letting men open doors for you when you're at stores, whether you're dating them or not. If somebody offers to carry something for you, say yes. If you're carrying groceries and someone says, do you want me to help you with the door? Start saying yes. This will improve your ability to receive. I have visions of myself. When I lived in Chicago, when I was in my 20s, I would have 2 arms full of groceries. I did everything on my own. I was so independent to a fault, and it took a physical toll on my body. I was just so rough on myself and forced myself to do everything. I was so hyper independent. If you're hyper independent, you might be facing this receiving problem. So getting clear, if you want a man who's going to come in and help you with these things, start receiving help now. Look for invitations where you can start to release a little bit. Even if you're at work and somebody offers to help you with something, say yes. If a family member offers to help you with something, start saying yes. Start to receive and release the guilt around it. Your thoughts are an incredible insight to what is going on in your subconscious mind. You start to feel some type of way. Instead of judging yourself, get inquisitive around the feelings coming up. Start to think, okay, I don't know where this is coming from. Just continue to follow the thoughts. Observe the thoughts without attaching to them. I noticed a trigger in myself yesterday that had nothing to do with dating, but I noticed that my thoughts around a situation had triggered a shift in my biochemistry and my mood. And I was like, okay, I'm recognizing that this is happening. Logically, I know these things to be true, but this thought created this sensation in my body. And I was able to sit with it. When you let an emotion flow all of the way through you, it will leave. When we have these emotional fits, these sensations, these changes in our biochemistry, these changes in our emotions where things fluctuate and it feels like it's going to last forever, it's not. When you repress it or when you push it away, it will stay in your body. But when you allow yourself to feel it the whole way through and to get inquisitive and to ask what's coming up, and even when you get really advanced, you can use it to identify the limiting belief that is causing your undesired circumstances. That's the goal here. You allow things to flow through you and you can release them without holding on to them or making them so personal. You'll realize that you're not your thoughts, you're not your circumstances. You can use your external world as feedback for whether you're trending in the right direction or the direction that you don't want. Are you creating desired circumstances or undesired circumstances in your life? When you're accepting the bare minimum, you're probably perpetuating undesired circumstances. You might be attracting men who are reinforcing your limiting beliefs around love because it feels safer to stay in this identity where your relationships are just plot points, the entertainment for the group chat. But you don't need to choose to be that woman anymore. Look at self-deprecating humor. This is a great indicator that you have limiting beliefs and a low self-image. Your self-image is the way that you see yourself. Go back to the previous podcast where I talk about your self-image. The way you see yourself does dictate what's going to be possible for you in your manifestation journey and relationships. If you're viewing yourself as someone like, I don't come from a good background, my relationships have never worked out before, if I get a relationship, it's going to be the luckiest thing in the world, it's going to be pretty hard to attract the relationship that you say that you want. The first place that you really want to look is inward when you're calling in a relationship. The first step was getting clear on why you want to be in the relationship. The second step was starting to improve your receptivity to the relationship. The third thing is looking at the way that you see yourself in the context of the relationship. When you are calling this person in, this person is going to be someone who looks at you really favorably in an ideal scenario. This is going to be someone who thinks that you're really special and thinks that you have really amazing things that you're doing. They're going to be interested in your hobbies. They're going to be interested in what you're creating. They're going to be interested in truly getting to know you, even the parts of yourself where you maybe still have shame or embarrassment. To be loved is to be known. I said in my last episode, like, to be loved, we have to go through the humiliating process to be known. But it's true. If there's still places in your life where you're judging yourself or you don't feel good enough or you wish things were different and you hide these versions of yourself and you go on dates and it feels like you're on an audition where they don't get to know anything about the real you, that's something to look into. When you view yourself from a place of, I know I have it going on, I know that I'm a catch, I don't need you, but I would really like to have a partner in my life and I'm interested to see where this goes and if you can match what I'm looking for, that's a very different energy of this better happen or else I'm going to die alone. I need this person to like me. This energy repels the person that you're dating. This is why a lot of dating coaches will advise dating multiple people at the same time. But it's all about knowing yourself and just really evaluating how much am I giving versus how much am I receiving in this relationship. If you feel like you're waiting by the phone and you're not your full self unless you hear back from him, that's not it. Could you imagine spending the rest of your life like that? We can have this disillusioned perspective that once things get more serious, we're going to settle down. And as soon as we're married, but the things that you feel insecure about now are always going to be there until you do the inner work. And just because you're married doesn't mean that you're never going to be insecure in the relationship again. With the right person, you won't feel these things, but you're not going to get the reassurances that you need just through things progressing in the relationship. Those are embellishments compared to the energy that you're feeling. If you are dating and you're like, I don't know if he likes me, and you have these feelings of insecurity and you need constant reassurances, the only way to really do this is to do the inner work. Now, I want to do a caveat because there is a mistake that I've made in the past where I would be in a relationship, it would make me feel really anxious, and I felt like it was on me to do the inner work, and like the problem was me and the fact that I had an anxious attachment style. I tried to gaslight myself into believing that I was secure instead of having the conversations that I needed to feel safe in the relationship. Don't do that because that's really lonely. And I ended up dating a guy who tried to ghost me. I acted like the cool girl who was fine with it. And then he came back and disclosed more information, and I felt like he could really trust me. And we went on another date to the movie theater where he used gift cards to pay for it. The effort was not there. He had on paper all of the things that I wanted in a good partner, but in reality, he was doing the bare minimum to keep me interested. This resulted in him trying to ghost me. I ended it because I was just like, look, I'm going to close the loop here. I should have ended the relationship so much sooner because there were certain elements of my values that this man caused me to compromise. The right person will exemplify your values. The wrong person will cause you to compromise your values. Choose accordingly. This decision on who you date is so important. If you're choosing to spend a majority of your time with someone, if you're choosing to make this person your life partner, that's a pretty important decision. I don't want someone who's just doing the bare minimum. And if they're doing the bare minimum in the beginning, what makes you think he's going to turn it around when the house is a mess, you have 2 kids, and you're exhausted, and you haven't slept more than 2 hours in the last week? What makes you think at that point he's going to take you seriously if he's not doing it now? This used to make me so upset because I was so bad at early dating. People said that the beginning stages are supposed to be the most fun. The beginning stages are supposed to be so easy. You're just getting to know each other. It should not be stressful. It made me mad because it was always stressful for me based on what I believed to be true about the world and believed to be true about myself. But I could not agree with that more. If someone is causing you any kind of stress in the first 3 months, you need to say goodbye to them. Seriously. You don't even know this person. If you had a friend for less than 3 months and they were causing drama in your life, would you even be considering spending time with them? You would just be like, this person is crazy. I don't really want to associate with this. I don't need that energy in my life. And that's how you need to start to approach dating. At first, it may create a vacuum in your life. Nature abhors a vacuum. The second you remove the men in your life who aren't meeting your standards, you're going to start to call in a different caliber of person. But you need to be able to withstand the discomfort of that not being here yet and keeping the vision of what you're creating. So let's say that you're dating, you have a roster. If these men are causing you more harm than good, cut them. And you may say, yeah, but it's fine. It's not consuming me. Get really honest with yourself. Like super honest. I have nothing to gain by telling you to cut these men. I don't know them, but you do. And I'm saying this as someone who has experienced in this whole process. Love gets to be one of the most beautiful parts of your life. But it starts with deciding you believe that you actually get to have that. So I hope that this episode helped bring awareness to some of your patterns, show you some of the areas where you have been accepting the bare minimum, give you some things to think about in terms of what your limiting beliefs might be, give you insight into what it means to receive and help you get your gears turning in your mind around what's going to be possible for you. The last thing that I want to leave you with is, if you are in a situation where you're accepting the bare minimum, really look at yourself and think about whether or not this aligns with the version of you that you're becoming. I'm not saying you need to cut him all loose, but if he's not adding to your life, he doesn't deserve to be in it. Make sure to check out my challenge, Flowers for VDAY, which is about upgrading what you believe to be true about love on a subconscious level so that you can attract the level of love that you've always wanted. And I am also enrolling private clients. Set up a 15-minute alignment call with me if you're interested in discussing private coaching options to rewire your specific limiting beliefs around love. I also work with different energetic healing modalities. I would absolutely love to have a conversation if you're ready to thrive and truly enjoy life and love. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to see you for next week's episode of Princess Interrupted, the podcast. Love you. Bye.